Hello, today I'm going to talk about the game Star Wars Escape from the Death Star from West End Games in 1990. It's a multiplayer up to 4 players or also a solitaire board game. Obviously we're pretty familiar with the theme. West End Games does a pretty good job, I think, generally with their components, and this is no exception. Box is well done. Obviously, they must have had the license of Star Wars. They have actual images from the movie. Interior of the Death Star there. A little bit of action shots. It's kind of a nice, solid box, and it's got, a little bit of, kind of gloss to it, so it's nice. Standard kind of bookshelf size box. So a little bit of theme here. In this innovative multiplayer solitaire game, you take the role of one of the major heroes from the Star Wars movie. You must find your way off the battle station before the Imperials close in. Only Obi-Wan Kenobi, trademark, and the droids R2-D2 and C-3PO can help you in their flight. Your survival depends on your skill, the Force as you race against time to disengage the tractor beam and reach the Millennium Falcon, your only hope of escape. Escape from the Death Star recreates the dramatic flight of the rebel heroes from the Imperial battle station in Star Wars 4: A New Hope. The first Star Wars movie that came out. And Star Wars was quite commercialized even back then, so we'll see how this goes. So the box is done well. It's authentic to the movie. So it's shown it's got quite an array of components. First of all, it's got this kind of nice storage box. Got these unique dice, which I appreciate. This can hold cards. These are 3 pieces on the board. We'll show how those go. And all of these parts are very highly integrated into how they work with the rules and everything, so I'll hold off on details of what everything's about until we kind of get the rules. But for each of the heroes, and there are 4 heroes, Han, Leia, Luke, and Chewie, and they come with these art on the stands here. It's okay for the day, obviously. These days it's miniatures and everything, but it works okay. They're a little bit big, especially since the squares they go in them are smaller, so it's interesting the size they chose, but it's functional. And they each of the 4 heroes has a pad of, each time you play the game you can use one sheet of different, keep track of different elements like stormtroopers that are following you, etc. And so you have different, it's almost D&D-ish as far as the kind of tracking the skills, like constant perception, technical agility, blaster, fire rate. Track your Obi-Wan points, Force, Droid, stamina. Then kind of a known area there. So that's nice. And then in the map, these different colored areas, as it discusses in the book, it's not an actual, it's a schematic, but they don't show detail because that would be impossible and it wouldn't make sense given the scale of the heroes to the Death Star, which is, I'm sure tens of thousands to 1. So each different color has a different meaning, and then you kind of draw these kind of action kind of cards. So you have, gray is kind of general areas, this, red is security, military, purple, command, green, source orange, technical, blue, hangar, kind of burgundy, and so each of these then corresponds with taking a card, basically. The rule book is pretty well done, 16 pages. It's a little bit wordy, but all the information is in there that you need. It's got like a 2-color scheme with purple and black. So it's okay, kind of typical of other Stun games. And then also there's a couple other sheets. There's a Kind of a tracking sheet of Darth Vader points, talking about the Darth Vader sector. Droid, tractor beam status, Obi-Wan information, and then a summary of hazard and help. So in the map, like I said, it's highly integrated with the rules, so I'll show it, but you see how it's, the Death Star and sectors within it. You place your cards and discard them in these areas. Millennium Falcon is here, which you want to get to, but first you have to disable the tractor beam before you can do that. Yeah, so and kind of color codes here. So on the map I want to mention, so it's kind of like a thickish poster paper kind of thing. It's not a board or anything, but it's functional. Those are the components. So we'll go through the rules here. So first of all, the sector types. So the Death Star has these squares are different sectors, and it's got a good key here. Different sector types correspond to different cards you would draw, or then there's also some special items that happen in them. So red is security, purple is military, green command, orange service, light blue technical, the gray is general, black is impassable, the brown are hangars. There's a special one. And their special one is the Darth Vader chamber, where you're more likely to see Darth Vader. Terminals is yellow, and the Millennium Falcon is over here. So the command, general, military, security, service, and technical, they each have unique things that are more likely to happen in them. I don't want to give them all away, but for instance, there's might be a risk of, in this case, a jetpack. You do a test on one of your skills, and then you see if you succeed or fail. So different skill tests. And then there's special. So when you land in those sectors, you draw those cards. Special sector, Darth Vader is more likely to be there. Detention block. That's where they start their escape. Hangars, different flight decks. So you draw cards normally, but there's special rules to move out of the hangars. Impassable, self-explanatory. In the main forward bay, is, of course, where the Millennium Falcon is. When a hero begins an action phase in this sector, the player controlling the hero may choose to enter the Millennium Falcon if there are no stormtroopers, or roll in the escape chart. Or you can use communications equipment, try a movement bonus. So the Millennium Falcon is the ultimate goal. So when you're there, you have safe and have no encounters. Terminals, or automated computer access sectors. Starting game 4 terminals, cards are placed face down, one in each of the positions shown on the game map. When a hero is in a terminal sector, the player controlling the hero turns over the corresponding terminal card. 3 of the cards display comm links, which are important for contacting droids. The 4th terminal represents the tractor beam terminal. Sector card boxes, that's basically where you put your cards. Escape chart up here. The first hero to reach the main forward bay with the Millennium Falcon is no longer follows the normal counter movement rules. Instead, here just rolls the dice, consults the escape chart, and follows the instructions given there, which could be nothing. Stormtroopers, Stormtroopers plus Vader, more Stormtroopers plus Vader. This is the chart card. So this is so the droid status. You record the status of droids and indicate they're hidden or found. Found means the stormtroopers have found them. They can only help them, so the droids are connected to the computers, and that's how they help the heroes. If the droids are found, R2 will be disengaged from the computer terminal, and and they'll have to work to find another terminal to continue their work. And then there's the Darth Vader points track. Certain events that occur in a game cause disturbance. And they're measured in Darth Vader's points. When one of these events occurs, Darth Vader mark is moved up the track. If the mark on the chart reaches the game over box, the heroes lose. So if it's that high, it means Darth Vader's very, very aware of their intentions, and then he basically goes the Millennium Falcon and it's over. There are special V-scores in track used in a difficult game to talk about. The other are the Droid squares. The droids are found. When Darth Vader enters or passes through one of these squares, they become hidden again. So Darth Vader's sector table, which is here. This table is used if the hero begins the action phase in Darth Vader's sector. If die is rolled, the result determined according to the entries of the table. Obi-Wan reminder. This shows when Obi-Wan may be called. And then there's character pads, which are these for the different 4 heroes. So there's obviously a name, record of how many stormtroopers are following you, stamina record, droid point record, the various skills, force points, and the Obi-Wan box. Agility is the indication of the hero's ability to perform difficult physical tests, like swinging or dodging. Con indicates how good a hero is at bluffing his or her way out of the most difficult situations. Perception, how good the hero is at noticing things or not being noticed. Technical, how good the hero is in mechanical things like reprogramming computers or hardwiring controls. Blaster, of course, is blaster, how handy there is. And different characters have different abilities. So, for instance, Han Solo has good blaster. If he gets a double roll, then he can hit 2 stormtroopers. Rate of fire is how many blasters the hero can squeeze out each turn. The higher the hero score, the better he's at the actions. So droid points. Each time a hero gets in touch with a droid, the hero receives information, helps him in the form of droid points. You can use droid points to pass skills tests. So when you get different cards, you have different skills tests you have to pass. Can be useful for that. So you can use them to pass certain tests automatically, or to find them more easily through the Death Star. Each hero begins with 2 force points. Forces with them during a difficult journey. Maybe spent to help with skills tests. Each hero has current force point, and each hero's got different numbers of force points. Stamina. This hero's damaged, kind of like hit points. Stamina's reduced, reach 0. He or she is detected and the game ends. Throughout the game, heroes will meet more and more stormtroopers. You expect to keep track of how many are pursuing at a given time. Obi-Wan box. Each hero may call only once upon the Jedi to help him. The hero makes a cross off the hero's Obi-Wan box. So some cards are risks. Like this is a risk card. Some are hazard cards. Like this would be a hazard. Droids found. No player may spend or gain DP. And there's help cards, which this would be example. Use survival equipment. Do agility test. Climb over the scaffold. Setup game. I'll show that in the setup. So turn sequence is played in turns and divided in phases. Luke always takes first turn. Then it's Han, Leia, and Chewbacca in that order. So each player during the turn goes through the phases. Stormtrooper blaster phase. Talk about that in detail. Action phase, movement phase. So in the Stormtrooper blaster phase. So Stormtroopers are following the heroes generally, and they fire at them. So if there are many, so I'm going to check to see how many there are on the listed on their Stormtrooper pad here. Then roll 3 dice and compare this to the total number of Stormtroopers. If the total is greater than the number of Stormtroopers, the Stormtroopers miss. But if the total is less than or equal to the number of Stormtroopers, the hero has been hit and reduced their stamina by 1 point. So whenever the Stormtroopers fire, they automatically score a hit if they roll a 111. This applies even if they're only 1 or 2. Hero strikes back. So after the Stormtroopers fire, the hero fires back at them. They fire a number of shots equal to his or her rate of fire, which can be increased or decreased during the game based on what happens. Each shot made by a hero is a blaster skill test. For each successful test, 1 Stormtrooper is blasted. The new lower number of troopers is written on the character pad. And so it's especially skillful when he rolls doubles and the roll indicates scored hit, he blasts 2. So they roll 2 dice. And the example, hand fires back, he uses blaster skill test, getting an 8. So he does a skill test with 2 dice. His fire rate is 3, and then so he does that 3 times. Special Stormtrooper rules: the maximum number hero may have in pursuit is 17. If the end of the hero's Stormtrooper phase, the hero has 14 or more in pursuit. The hero loses his or her action movement phases and is trapped, and the play goes to the next hero. Diversionary: hero may leave behind some other Stormtroopers as they begin a movement phase in a sector with another hero who's willing to take them. In the action phase, so if it's not trapped, then it goes to action. Nature of the phase depends on the type of sector hero occupies. If it's in terminal, Darth Vader sector remain forward. They don't have normal action phase, but looks at special rules for the sectors. And other sector, they draw the appropriate card and follow the instructions. Remember, heroes in detection block AA 23 or in central security are considered to be in the general sector. Hazard cards. So when a hazard card is drawn, again, some of these cards have hazards on them. So in hazards, heroes will usually have to make a skill test or some other type of decision. Stormtrooper hazards. Well, Stormtrooper hazards require no skill test. Simply add the number of Stormtroopers on the hazard card to the hero's Stormtrooper total. Skill test. When skill test is called for, find a skill referred on the card with the character pad. Roll 2 dice. Compare the total to the skill in question. If the total is equal or less than skill number, the hero has passed the test. If the roll is higher, the hero has failed. Occasionally, circumstances make it beneficial to fail test. A hero may voluntarily fail any test. Sometimes a card will tell a hero to take a test with a negative modifier. This means that the stated number must be subtracted from the hero's skill score for this test only. If the hero fails the test, the result must be changed by expenditure. The result may be changed by expenditure of force points. Some hazards give the hero the option of expending droid points instead of taking the skill test. Expenditure of points droid results in automatic success, but you must decide before you do the dice. Help cards generally receive some form of help without having to make dice rolls. Some do require skill tests. The rules for negative skill modifiers, force points, droids, are the same as before. Risk cards, the same rules. They do not necessarily mean the player has a choice of whether to take the skill test, and then they can. Some risk cards do not involve a test, but also the player may choose to take both harmful and beneficial effect at the same time. Then movement phase. In the lower right hand corner of each sector card are the movement direction arrows. So for instance here, these represent the different speed direction combinations the hero may choose from when leaving the sector. Indicate the direction the hero may move, and tells how many spaces. Hero must move in a straight line according to one of the directions shown. Must move exactly the number of sectors shown, unless the way is blocked. In that case, they stop at the last sector. Important, the hero must move at least one sector and may sometimes be forced to move in undesirable directions because of its role. Hero may remain in place only if all movement directions are impassable for whatever reason. If that happens, they don't have a movement phase. So any number of heroes may share a sector, which, could be interesting because these are quite large, so it'll be interesting to see how several of these could fit in one sector. So if there's several in one, they may take away some stormtroopers from the others. Alternatively, leaving shares may leave behind some or all for another hero. Hero may not transfer stormtroopers simply by passing. The hero must begin the movement phase in a shared sector. In either case, procedure is simple. Players agree on the number, and they agree on who gets them, and then they just all alter their pad. Note if it's the hero's turn to move, the hero may not take stormtroopers such that his or her total will exceed 13. Otherwise, it would be trapped. Some cards tell the hero to lose all stormtroopers, meaning that the hero's stormtroopers is reduced to 0. Special sectors. Heroes starting their movement phase, Darth Vader sector's terminal may move one square in any direction except diagonally. Reminder of this rule is printed on the terminal cards and the Darth Vader sector table. And these are the terminal sector cards. I don't know if I showed these earlier, but these are another set of cards. Heroes and hangers follow movement rules given on the hanger card drawn. Jumping sectors. There are 2 instances where it may jump sectors. There's a hazard help effect. Some hazards, conditions which they can jump. If cards infect, they must immediately jump to a designated sector. If 2 sectors are in equal range, they can choose which one to go to. Special move. The special movement section, some cards have special designation. These include turbo lifts and hangar bays. Either of these cases, the player may choose to move the stated number of sectors in any direction. Hero need not move the full amount. Using droid points. Some movement cards have the designation droid point. This means that the movement directions of such cards can be ignored. The hero may call upon the droids for aid in finding his way through the Death Star. Cards drawing, hero may spend the droid point. May spend 1 droid point, ignore the movement directions on 1 card. Instead, moving 1 sector in any direction diagonally. They may do this if it's not trapped, not forced to move, and would be normally allowed to use them. Droid points throughout the adventure. So basically R2-D2 is plugged into the computer system and give droid support. Presumably C-3PO is with him as well. At the start of the game, each hero has 2 droid points. They may never have more than 6. And droid points can begin by visiting comlink terminal sectors or by drawing certain help cards. So droid points in action phase. Some hazard help cards give heroes the option of spending droid points. This spend is often in place of taking a skill test. If you're going to fail, they can spend the droid points for automatic success. Some cards demand expenditure of droid points if they want to gain a benefit or avoid a hazard. Whenever droid points are spent, deduct the number from the current total and write the new number on the pad. If they don't have the number, then they will suffer the consequences of not having it. Droid points movement phase. Cards movement directions also include the note DP. Allows the player to spend 1 droid point to ignore the list movement and move 1 sector in any direction except diagonally. droids found. Certain hazards may result in droids being found. In that case, move the droid status marker to found. And no player may spend droid points then when it's in that. This restriction is in effect until the mark on the Darth Vader points passes or enters the square of the droid representation. And then they're unfound again. If the Vader marker is in a droid square when the droids are found, you have to wait until Darth Vader moves to droid space. And they can indicate that at playpad. Force points. These force points, I guess they don't know the force is with them necessarily, but they do have the force. Some more skeptical than others, I suppose. Use of force points, they may spend force points whenever they make any skill test, including blasters when shooting at stormtroopers. No other dice rolls may be affected by the force, only rolls made for skill tests. Spending one force point lowers the skill test roll by a total of 1. A number of force points may be spent single roll as long as the hero has enough force points. Okay. Darth Vader and the Force. Darth Vader is sensitive to the Force fluctuations. For each force points the hero spends, Darth Vader points marker moves up to his track. Okay. Obi-Wan of the Force. Force points can be gained by calling upon Obi-Wan. It's called upon restores the hero's force. The hero's force point total is restored. The hero may spend some of his force points, call upon Obi-Wan, and spend the new ones, all during one die roll. But they can only do it once. Terminal sectors, heroes must deactivate the Death Star's tractor beam before they can escape the Millennium Falcon. However, they cannot be sure they're located. It can only be found in one of the 4 terminal sections. Start a game. The 4 terminal cards are shuffled and placed face down terminal sector boxes. The first time a hero starts the next phase in the terminal sector, the controlling player turns over the terminal card. His direction the card is face up and follows the instructions on the card. I don't want to give away too much what's on the cards because that might take away from gameplay by doing that. In the common terminal spaces, there are communications devices that can put heroes in touch with droids. It's the most reliable method of gaining droid points. Provided the droids are hidden, the hero spends the action phase of comic sector receives 3 droid points. In the following movement, the hero must move one sector in any of the 4 allowed directions. Tractor beam terminal. At the start of the game, tractor beam is on. The heroes must turn tractor beam off in order to be able to leave in the Falcon with the game. Heroes spending his action phase in the tractor beam may alter stats from locked to on, and from on to off. Certain cards cause the beam to become locked. The change can be indicated by turning the tractor beam stats, moving the tractor beam stats card marker. Following movement phase, the hero must move one sector in the allowed direction. Cost 1 Vader point to alter stats at tractor beam from locked to on and from on to off. Increase the Vader track by 1 point. Hero alters stats at tractor beam. At any time during his return, the hero may turn the tractor beam off by calling upon Obi-Wan for help. The hero does not have to be in the tractor beam terminal to do this. And they don't even need to know where it is. He just crosses out the tractor beam. Just crosses off the Obi-Wan box, moves the marker on the tractor beam status display. These actions do not entitle players to look at any internal sector cards that are still face down. Darth Vader is the most fearsome obstacle. To face him, it will be a result of hazard cards or entering the Darth Vader sector and rolling 6 on a die. If hero meets Darth Vader, he or she's already crossed off, and he or she's already crossed the Obi-Wan box. The hero is captured and the game ends. Seems kind of harsh. Otherwise, the Jedi Knight must be called upon at this time. Obi-Wan engages Darth in a lightsaber duel, allowing the hero to slip away. So, you need an Obi-Wan available to avoid Darth Vader if he pops up. Yes. Darth Vader points and track. I guess they're not mature enough in the Force yet. As the heroes make their way through the Death Star, the crew of the battle station keeps Darth Vader informed as possible of the Rebels' progress, and he searches his feelings for the Force. So this is reflected on his point track. Point reduction, his points are reduced as a result of certain help cards, or a hero entering a Darth Vader sector and making a low roll. They increased by tractor beam alteration, using the Force, or calling Obi-Wan. Each time he's called on, he had 3 Vader points. Droid scores, if the droids are found, the droids are found when Vader moves to droid, then they would go back to hidden. Game over, if the Vader point marker reaches game over, the game ends immediately. You realize how dangerous they are. Goes to the Millennium Falcon. Darth Vader sectors in each of these areas. Darth Vader is most likely to be found in meditation, invocation, or just passing through. Then through these certain health cards, entering Darth Vader sector and making a low roll is the only way to reduce the Voider point level. Hero starting the action phase in Darth Vader sector might roll the dice and compares the number in the table below. This table is also on the chart sheet showing here. So 1, Force with you, it's somewhat with you, Emperor calls, 4 no effect, and 5 at a Vader point, 6 you get Darth Vader, and the game's over. If you don't have Obi-Wan. Using Obi-Wan, like I said, whenever you use Obi-Wan, 3 Vader points are added. Can be used one time. Can be used to restore Force points, distract Stormtroopers to 0. Aid recovery, may restore 3 points of damage he's taken during gameplay. Can restore up to 3 points of a skill loss or 3 points of stamina loss, or both, in a combination that does not exceed a total of 3. You can't go above your levels that were at the start of the game. Shut down tractor beams, no matter. He or she can use Obi-Wan to switch the tractor beam from on to off, or from lock to on. That seems kind of OP right there. We'll see how that works out. Dual Darth Vader. Hero faces Darth Vader. Obi-Wan must be called upon, or the game is over. To winning the game. So when a hero enters, so trying to be in the main forward bay, preparing the Falcon for an escape, a number of specials come into play. Detail, hero who enters the main forward bay while moving forward must stop in sector and move no further. They might move into the Millennium Falcon Square without first any move in the main forward bay. Hero passes over the main forward bay sector while moving to the left or right does not stop in this manner. Special main forward bay actions. Hero in the main forward bay has a Stormtrooper blaster as usual, but they have the following options in place of the normal phase. If they have 0, they may send the hero into the Falcon, in which case hero's turn ends. If the hero has Stormtroopers in pursuit, the hero may stay in the forward bay, rolling in the escape chart, and providing a movement bonus to his fellow heroes. So again, the escape chart is nothing, Stormtroopers. Step 1 is where all the heroes' turn ends. If higher numbers, the hero's Stormtrooper total is increased as shown. And if 5 or 6, they're added, and the Vader track is increased. So you can get more company, as I'd say. Movement bonus, when the heroes, or rather made for it, take their movement phase, they get a bonus move of 1 sector in any direction for each hero that is in the main forward bay. A hero may not take a bonus if her regular was lost or forced to hazard. Hero may take bonus after a hanger or turbo lift special move. If there's 2 or more in the forward bay, the movement bonus increases to 2 sectors for all remaining heroes. When 3, the remaining is 3. In addition, the heroes in the bay may take advantage of the movement It allows transfer a stormtrooper here to another if any of the heroes want to enter the Falcon. Okay. A hero may pass all of his stormtroopers to some other hero in the bay. The Falcon, heroes in the Falcon do not participate in play in any way. Must have 0 stormtroopers in order to enter the Falcon. However, the controlling player may move the hero out of the Falcon and back to the main. That's the only action they can take. Last one aboard. When 3 heroes are on board the Falcon, the rule prohibiting entry unless he has 0 is limited. This means the last man or woman aboard can have any number of stormtroopers in the pursuit, as long as all the other 3 are aboard. If last one aboard survives the stormtrooper phase, game is over and heroes won. Victory defeat, escaping the Death Star is largely a team effort. If one hero loses, they'll lose. So one would lose if any hero stamina reaches 0. If hero faces Death Star, you kind of call Obi-Wan. If the other point reaches, game over. And there's some hints and notes to stay together, move ahead, know the decks, watch Vader trot. And then the difficult game. So in this one, 3 of the squares are V. This means the first responsible onto has caused disturbance. To attract the attention of Darth Vader, the player controlling hero must roll a die, compare the result with a number on the Vader square. The lower the number than the printed number, the Darth Vader strides by and the hero can breathe easy. If the roll is higher, must face Death Star and then do the Obi-Wan thing. Obi gives 2 stamina. In a difficult game, Obi-Wan can only restore 2 lost skill points, or 2 stamina. Roll for track space. One on the tractor beam guard gets note of a 4 to 6. Must be rolled in order to shut down tractor beam. And then last one aboard, last hero aboard, must have 0 pursuing stormtroopers. So, damaged droid terminal. When a droid terminal card is marked as damaged, he amplifies no droid points. No droid points. This is ignore the droid point legend, the movement section of some of the cards. So that's the rules, and then we'll get into setup and play. So showing setup here before I get into play. It's pretty straightforward. First of all, each of the 4 player sheets down here. And then over here, these game markers. Actually is skeptical about how well these would work, but I think these work out pretty well. On the Darth Vader points track is 0, droid status is hidden, tractor beam status is on. It's got the dice here. I do like the dice. It's kind of unique. And then I just have the hazard and help effect summary here for reference. And then the players, I wasn't sure, they all start off in the detention block AA23. I wasn't sure how that'd work with all of them fitting on there, but actually you can kind of bunch them up okay, so it works out alright. Since the bases are small, you can kind of set them together, and that actually works okay. I was pleasantly surprised by that. And then the rest are you shuffle the sector cards and put in the appropriate spot. So the terminal in each of these sections. Then of course and then you just do them according to where it's technical sector, deck, hangar, command sector, military sector, security sector, service sector, general sector. That's set up, and we'll get into play. Okay, we're a few turns into it here. Kind of show you where I'm at. The previous turn, Luke went to corridor with the hazard of stormtroopers, so he picked up 7 more. He had a bunch, and he was gradually knocking them down with his blaster, but he had 8, now he jumps up to 50, and his stamina's been getting knocked down by being hit by blasters. Han has a few. Last turn, he was in the terminal here, which he was able to see that's a droid terminal, so that's where he spent his turn. And by being there, he picked up 3 droid points, so he's got 5 now. He has a few stormtroopers after them, but fortunately they haven't been knocking down his stamina. So Leia had a hazard which ended up her losing 1 stamina because she failed in agility. And actually that one, she lost stamina and an agility, which is pretty heavy duty. It was a stun. And then the last, she didn't have any stormtroopers following her, but the last help would have been, she lost them, but she didn't have any following her. Chewbacca has 5 stormtroopers following him. And lastly, he was on a elevator. He had to take an agility test at -1, but instead of doing that, he decided just to spend the 1 DP point to escape the platform before it descends. And so then the turn sequence is Stormtrooper blaster phase, action phase, and then movement phase. So first we'll do the Stormtroopers. So Luke, Han, and Chewbacca. If you have multiplayers, you do them individually, but since I'm doing all 4 of them, I'll do this phase all together. So for the Stormtroopers, you roll 3 dice, and if the value is their number or less, they knock down your stamina 1. And he's got 15, so it's it's 1. So he's down to 2 stamina, which is a problem. Han only has 5 after him, so he's okay. Chewbacca has 5 after him. He's okay. And then the heroes can return fire. And they roll 2 dice for their blaster score and the number of fires of their fire rate. So 7 or less for 3. Nope. This is Luke. Nope. He gets 1 of them. So it's knocked down to 14. Which 14 isn't good because that means he's entrapped and he would lose a movement phase. So that's not good. Then Han's going to fire back. So if he gets doubles, he can knock off 2 of them. So fire rate 1, 2, 3. So he's knocked down 3 of them, so that's good. He doesn't have any after her. Chewbacca is 7 with fire rate 3. 1, 2, 3. That's good. So next. And then the action phase. This is where they draw a card, and actually before, and they go in this order: Luke, Han, Leia, Chewbacca. So before Luke does that, he's pretty low in stamina, so he's gonna call on Obi-Wan the one time he gets to call on him. And so scratch that off. And one thing of calling Obi-Wan, so he can restore up to 3 stamina, which he will get 3 back. He's still only at 5 though. But since he called Obi-Wan, he can't call him again if you were to see Darth Vader, for instance, or anything. So this is the last time to do that. And then he'll draw his action card, which is a technical sector deck. Medical Bay, well that's nice. He gets restores 2 stamina. I honestly didn't plan that. So he back up to 7, that's great. Han, he's in the terminal sector, so he doesn't get a card this time, but he'll move out of there next time. Leia, so she is general, similar, same as last time. Help, Blastors lose all stormtroopers, and she doesn't have any, so that's not going to help her at all. And Chewbacca, and he's now in green, which is command sector. Sensor control, hazard, sensor sweep. So test agility mass 2 or spend 2 DP to quickly evade the armed security systems. If you fail, you lose 1 stamina, +1 victory Vader point, and 1d6 stormtroopers. So he's already used one of his droid points, so he's only got 1, so he can't do that. So he's got to do an agility roll. To do that, His agility score is 6, but it's at a -2, so he needs a 4 or less. And no, that didn't quite do it. So he failed that test, and he loses 1 stamina. There's 1 Vader point, and Vader is already up to 3, so he's moving on up there. And he gets 1d6 stormtroopers. He gets 6 stormtroopers, so he's up to 8. And now we'll do the movement phase. So Luke has 14 stormtroopers, which means he's entrapped, so he can't. These would be the areas he'd move, but he can't because he's entrapped, and that's where he is, so that's not a good situation for him. And having already called Obi-Wan as well. And then, so Han, he can go, he wants to kind of try to get over to help Luke there, but unfortunately he's blocked by these. So after the terminal, he must move 1 in any of the 4 directions. So he'll move over generally in the direction to help Luke, so he'll go there. Leia, so she can go front 3 or left right 3. She also wants to go over there, so unfortunately there's these impassable ones. She'll go up here, so she's got kind of a straight shot. And then Chewbacca, so he can go front 2, and he'll do that. He'll move up 2. So that's movement. And I'll do one more here now. So Luke has 14 after them, so they're going to get a shot in. 12. So fortunately, they didn't hit, but now he can, because they got 15. He's going to fire. Miss. Yeah, miss. 3 misses. That's not good for Luke. So then Han only has 2 after him. So with 3 dice, that's not possible. So I'm not even going to try that. Since the best they could do would be 3. He gets to fire back. Nope. Roll out again. Nope. So 1 hit. Leia doesn't have any after her. Chewbacca does. No, they miss. He gets to fire back. Miss. 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 So unlucky this time. He needed 7 or less. So that's the attack. And then action phase. They draw an action card. Luke. Risk is service shuttle. Test agility. To leap to a moving service shuttle. If he succeeds, he'll lose all his stormtroopers. That's really good. His agility is 7. Excellent. He succeeded in his agility, which means he can move the nearest terminal and lose all his stormtroopers. That's quite excellent. And now he's got 0. So that's great. Han, he's on a general. Hazard Imperial Guards, do perception check. It's perception 6. He fails. So he misses his move, and it's 1 Vader point increased. Leia is on general. Hazard security chute, do an agility check to leap across the opening. Her agility is 5 because it got reduced from 4. She fails. -1 perception and must move to the nearest security sector, so that's not good. Security sector is red, so it'll be here. Chewbacca, he's in general also. Risk restricted zone. Test perception, try quickly to classified area. So, option of using a DP, but he's not. Perception is, okay, well, average. But if he succeeds, he'll lose all stormtroopers. And he fails. He gets 1d6 stormtroopers. So, he only gets 1 more, so there you go. That's the action, and then the movement phase. Again, that's Star Wars Escape from the Death Star, from West End Games from 1990. I didn't have high expectations going into it because, like I said, I mean, Star Wars is pretty commercialized, but it is from one of the original three, so that's good. I was very pleasantly surprised. It plays very well in solitaire. In fact, the rules don't change for solitaire versus multiplayer. And it flows really well. West End does a good job with components. There's a lot of strategy involved, and you have different risks for your different actions. I like how you track your different ability points. That's pretty neat too. So, like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. I'd highly recommend it. I give it an 8 out of 10. Thanks for your time.